Hey, what's up y'all? I'm back with another video. I, much like just about everyone else that still plays retail, have been playing a lot of Pandaria Remix recently, seeing as it's the expansion I started playing in. I've tried and tested quite a few different methods for farming bronze and figured that I would share some of that information with the class. If using the group finder to clear heroics is too intimidating for you, you're just looking to complete your collections, or you're a lowbie just looking to get some bronze to help you get eye level 476, I'm going to be showing you a few alternative methods for farming tens of thousands of bronze every single hour. Anyways, that being said, let's just get right into the video. The first method that I wanted to share was the Mogu encampments outside of Guai Halls. Now, while a great solo farming spot, I'd recommend bringing a friend or two since the mobs are actually on 4 spawn timers, but the threshold is very high. An hour of farming yielded me 173 pieces of gear, 142 gems, and 27 cash keys, which equates to around 8,000 bronze for an hour of farming. This farm also netted me around 11,500 raw bronze in an hour, meaning that my total bronze per hour rate was somewhere around 20,000, which is actually pretty insane considering I was farming solo. This farm is also pretty good for killing rares, seeing as you're flying around the Vale, and I was able to kill 17 of them while farming for an hour. It's also worth mentioning that I looted 221 threads while farming, meaning that it's a pretty okay way of leveling your cloak as well. Another bronze making method I wanted to share is a classic for people who played during Siege of Orgrimmar or early Warlords, and it's killing the mobs around Sra'vess. Now, despite being nerfed to oblivion over a decade ago, the mob density hasn't changed and the respawns are still fast enough to make farming this area worthwhile. An hour of farming yielded me 103 pieces of gear and 140 gems, which equates to around 4,700 bronze for an hour of farming. This farm also netted me around 11,000 raw bronze in an hour, meaning that my total bronze per hour rate was somewhere around 16,000, making it still a pretty decent alternative to the Mogu encampments, especially if it's being contested. While I was out here, I didn't see a single other player, meaning that you're more than likely not going to have any competition whatsoever. It's also worth mentioning that I looted 109 threads while farming, making it pretty sorry if you're looking to level your cloak while farming. The next alternative bronze farming method I wanted to share was Guai Halls. Now, this was actually an extremely popular gold farming location, at least for myself, during Warlords of Draenor, using the potions of luck for treasure chests, and you can actually still replicate the farm if you have herbalism and gather a golden lotus, but that's beside the point. Unlike the Guai encampments, these mobs do not force spawn off each other, however, they have incredibly fast respawn timers, meaning that you're able to get kills pretty reliably so long as you don't have major competition. An hour of farming yielded me 72 pieces of gear, 53 gems, and 7 cash keys, which equates to around 2,500 bronze for an hour of farming. This farm also netted me around 7,000 raw bronze in an hour, meaning that my total bronze per hour rate was somewhere around 10,000, which, while not nearly as good or consistent as the outside Mogu encampments, is still pretty decent if you're out of luck while farming. There are also a handful of rares that spawn down here, and I was able to secure 13 of them while farming for an hour. It's also important to mention that I was able to loot 147 threads in an hour, which, while it isn't as good as the Mogu camps, is still pretty decent if you're looking for a laid-back bronze farm that you can just kinda chill and vibe while doing. My next alternative bronze farming method is Zan'vess, an open world area in the Dreadwaste with mobs that have minute-long respawn timers. An hour of farming yielded me 113 pieces of gear and 84 gems, which equates to around 4,000 bronze for an hour of farming. This farm also netted me around 8,000 raw bronze in an hour, meaning that my total bronze per hour rate was somewhere around 12,000, which isn't anything worth writing home about, but it's pretty consistent and you're pretty much guaranteed to not have any competition while farming out here. On top of that though, I was able to loot 168 threads, which is pretty insane considering I didn't kill any rares, meaning that while not being the most impressive bronze farm, it's a pretty decent means of acquiring threads, especially if the Mogu encampments are being turbo farmed. Another alternative method for farming bronze if you aren't looking for solo character progression is to create and level alts. Now, There's a really good guide on how to get to 70 in under 2 hours, but I'm not going to share it because you have Google. This method usually nets me between 80 and 100,000 bronze for 2 hours of work, since you get a ton of free bronze just for leveling, and is how I was able to clear out all of the mounts from Hemet Nessingwary the 17th in less than 6 days. It's also worth mentioning that you can keep your characters after the whole Mist of Pandaria remix thing is over, so this is an incredible way to accrue an army of alts to help with things such as professions and farming in the future. Who knows, maybe you'll even end up maining that character in the next expansion. Now, the final method I wanted to share for bronze farming is much different than the last ones, as it takes us over to the Eastern Kingdoms in Kalimdor. Now, since bronze requires both copper and tin to farm, I'd recommend splitting your farms into 2 30-minute sessions if you value your personal time. For copper, I'd recommend flying around Darkshore. It will provide you with the most copper out of just about any zone, and seeing as the zone is ginormous, the nodes will have respawned by the time you've completed a loop. Next, I'd recommend farming in Northern Stranglethorn for tin ore. Honestly speaking, you can just as effectively farm tin ore in Hillsbrad Foothills, but it's pretty out of the way, and I don't really care enough to fly all the way over there for 5 minutes of B-roll footage that any other YouTuber would just have cinematic footage playing that they ripped from someone else without credit. Once you farm an equivalent amount of copper and tin, you're able to smelt the two to create bronze bars, which you can in turn craft into bronze coins, allowing you to upgrade gear or buy collectibles. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, let me know. It helps to stroke my ego and I really appreciate it. If you think my mic is too loud and peaks too often, leave a comment so I could turn the gain up even higher next time. If you're interested in joining my Discord, a link to a short PowerPoint presentation is in the description below with the link at the end. And with that being said, as always, peace.